Hey golfers, so I sent out an email about on-course lessons. If you had the opportunity to go out with a golf pro, what would that be? How much would that cost? What would you like to get out of it? You know, those types of things there. So before you go out and start spending money on this and hoping that you're going to get the outcome that you're looking for, this video should definitely help. So here's some replies that I've got. I've got about a dozen of these. So first one is assistance with putting and alignment when hitting the ball, as sometimes I think I get closed off compared to where I aim. So it sounds like definitely some kind of a putting alignment strategy. Club selection, realizing not that every shot ends up on the fairway and how to prepare mentally for the next one after this happens. Where to aim to create the shot you want, understanding the pressures of playing in a group. I think that's a very common one out there as well. On-course shot routine strategies to maintain shot consistency, and then general course management. And I think what happens is that this kind of course management thing, or this playing lesson thing, gets put under a massive umbrella, but I can guarantee these all mean something different to you. Another one here, risk versus reward, definitely. Comments on decisions I make during the round, including club selection, what to do when there is a problem. I tend to lose consistency after the tee box. I may hit my second shot well, but feel like I'm missing a routine. Example, I think after a tee shot, in the fairway or in the rough, pick what to do next. Is the club and the distance the right choice? My ball below and above my feet, what I need to change to accommodate. Lots of YouTube. This is good. It's good that you guys are out there trying to find these the answer to this. If I had this opportunity, I'd like to be looking for advice on strategy, course management, areas or items to focus on to help lower my score, club selection and targets, method to deal with challenging shots on short chips, on greens that catches the club, for example. And the last one, a little on-course guidance on how to reduce or eliminate reoccurring golf errors. For me, this may be the slice or the shot that goes left, more pitch shot that goes half the distance. So the first thing is, and this is I guess where the frustration is, there is no one size fits all. But when you then start to understand what the framework is and then how to then implement it for your own game of golf, this is where you will definitely improve leaps and bounds. So let's start off with one of the most common questions that we get asked here is, how fast should I be moving a golf club? At the end of the day, it's as fast as you possibly can whilst maintaining control. And for some of us that might be 10 mile an hour, the other one might be 120 mile an hour. It really depends on what you have built in behind you. So same thing applies here, is that if we look at this as a golf hole, so I just picked a golf hole in Kiowa Island Club. This is the 17th hole. You know, so bunkers running all down the right hand side there, pin tucked front right. So it's definitely trying to suck you into hitting the ball and then missing it into the bunker. And then if I hit it into that bunker there's not a lot of sand, not a lot of green there to cover. So what a tour pro would do, they understand their dispersion circle is about 6%. So if I'm aiming at a 100-meter target and I've got US tour level skill, they could potentially hit this 94 meters to 106 meters as your short and long miss. They can also hit it 6 meters left and 6 meters right. It's a big area, yeah. So, but they know that they've got the opportunity to hit this golf ball in there 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times, especially in a practice environment. So if we look at, you know, where this pin location is and we draw a circle around that with just the US tour average of 6%, let me do the quick numbers here. So what do we got? 153 times 0.06. I've got a 9.1 or 9.2 meter circle that I have to allow for this particular shot. So if we then look at this, based on where that flag is, if I'm 9 meters short, I'm missing the green left, short. If I'm 9 meters right, I'm definitely in the bunker. 9 meters long, I'm on the green. 9 meters left, I'm on the green. So again, if I then start to understand my shot pattern, even though I might have that 6% dispersion pattern, I might have a tendency to be, I miss more short right, or miss more short left, long right. It really depends again on the golfer. But again, as a general rule, if I'm thinking here, shotgun pattern, I've got an even dispersion around that, I'm definitely not aiming at this flag. Yep, so if I'm aiming for this shot here, I'll be going, I want to make sure that this flag is on my, my front right miss, if you may. So if I look at this, I would be aiming somewhere here, somewhere closer to the middle of the green there, where if I'm now aiming at a target that's 162 and I'm 9 meters short, I end up flag high. If I go 9 meters right, I'm going to be fine. I might even actually aim this a little bit more to the middle here. So if I'm then 9 meters left, I'm going to catch this part of the green or the fringe, which then still gives me a pretty straightforward chip. I've got heaps of green there to work with. 9 meters long, again, just going to have to rely on my long lag putts. And then 9 meters short, I'll still be hitting the green there. So can you see how once you know what your dispersion pattern is, you can then start to actually map out where you should be aiming. So Tiger's analogy, this would be a definition of aiming conservatively, but now making an aggressive swing towards it. Yeah, versus aiming aggressively and then making a half-committed golf swing as I'm swinging it, going, no, don't go right, and then all of a sudden I shove this thing over to the left-hand side. So that's the general concept, and this is what golf pros and caddies do as they go around playing golf, is they'll start to determine, where are my spots to hit, where should I err a little bit more one way or the other. So I can guarantee you there's not many golf pros that are taking dead aim at that flag there and then hitting it right next to it. It would be part of their miss pattern of aiming at the middle there. Their short right miss pattern would be the one that ends up next to the flag. If it doesn't, they're hitting it to the middle of the green there. So let's give that a go. So again, this helps with the routine element as well. I'm confident that that's where I want to hit it. I'm aiming at 162 now, not the 153 that it's at the flag there. And then I'm going to try and make the best swing I possibly can. So I know that my 7-iron flies about 153, running out to 162. So you can see there where my golf ball ended up. Absolutely hit the best shot of my life then, I reckon. So yeah, 161 carry. So if I did slightly miss-hit that, that would fall shorter. It would end up somewhere near the flag. But again, I'm looking at hitting good shots here, and that one there, it doesn't have a distance to the pin. But anyway, it gives us an idea of picking a spot, committing to that. Your miss-hits, because again, this game's about a miss-hits. My miss-hits end up close to the flag. So tip number one, aim for the middle of the green, regardless on what your distance you are from the hole. Same thing with the fairways, aim for the widest part, and then the middle of that would be a really, really simple tip. Okay, so now we're going to dive a little bit more into how do we go about preparing ourselves to get onto the golf course, because again, you can have the world's best strategy there. However, if my execution, I'm not quite sure what my dispersion pattern is. If my dispersion pattern is 20% of the distance and then I'm allowing for 10%, well, they're not matching. Yeah, so you definitely need to know if you've got a certain club, what is my dispersion circle, so you can then create your own on-course strategy. So here's my little checklist. So first box that we must tick is find a club or a swing for these distances. And the reason why we've identified these distances, I didn't come up with these. TrackMan have identified that these are the 10 most important distances to be able to hit. If you can play these 10 distances, you can get to a scratch handicap. So first distance that we're looking for is 55 meters, and then we go 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, 125, 145, 165 carry, and then driver. So ultimately, if you know what club, what swing is going to help you get these golf balls to fly this distance, you're definitely one step ahead of the curve there. The next checklist that we want to do is, based on these numbers, we need to know what our dispersion pattern is. So hitting 10 shots at 55 meters, and then quickly having a look at what is my dispersion pattern, because that then is going to be the critical driver of how you're going to determine and play the game of golf. Based on that, like I just mentioned there, the next checklist is then map out the golf course. So we're in a modern day where you can jump on Google and have a look at the Google map of the golf course that you do play. When you have that, you can then start to draw little circles. So if you know your driver, for example, goes 150 meters and your dispersion circle is 10%, I can grab the cursor and then put myself at 150, draw a little circle around that 15-meter circle, and that becomes your hitting area. And then from there, you can then look at what your second shot is doing. Again, it might be, 145 carry, that might be my 5-wood or my 3-wood. I hit that. Again, if I've got a 10% dispersion circle, I then draw another little circle around that second area. So all of a sudden, you've got this map on how you want to move around this golf course, right? And then from there, we can then move into actually now refining our skills to improve this dispersion circle. Yep, ultimately, if my dispersion circle is 20% over a 165 distance, what's that, 33 meters, I then want to work that down. So then I know that each time that I come down and practice, and if I know that I'm working on one of the skills that's going to have an impact on that, that every time I come down and practice, I know that that circle's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point you can start to strive for, US Tour standards of 6%. Couple little tips and tricks out on the golf course, and this will definitely help with making some adjustments. But again, you need to know this, so you then know how this is going to impact these distances. So in the rough, because the golf ball and the club face don't get that nice pure contact, we do reduce the spin. So when we reduce spin on the golf shot, it comes out lower or flatter, which means that if my 7-iron is designed to carry 100, in this example here, 160, because of the less spin, it can dive out of the sky a little bit more, or it can also have the opposite effect and also go further. So again, until we hit this golf shot, we don't really know. So more often than not, because we don't have the speed behind it, less spin means ball comes out a little bit lower, flatter, which means it's going to land shorter and then have more run behind it. If I then know that and I'm trying to calculate that into it, I then might go to a 6-iron or whatever that golf club may be. Wind. This is a very interesting topic. Wind is not a constant, so it's very hard to put a number behind it. But let's just say we were able to go, it's a 10-kilometre-an-hour wind, and it stayed the same for my downwind shot and my into the wind shot. So the same wind will only help half the amount. And again, this is the little calculations that good golfers make, is that they're into the wind, they'll hit their golf shot. So let's say they got 160 metres here again. They hit their golf shot, hit it really well, and it falls 10 metres short. So in their mind, they've just noted that. Because it's valuable information for the next one. So if it's hurting me 10 meters, when I then have that wind switch around for me, it's only going to help me 5 meters. Yeah, that's the kind of rule of thumb that we go for. So one, definitely be aware of how much is that wind actually affecting that golf shot. We can definitely learn from that. Write it down, so when you are into the wind there, you can then go, okay, I'm going to learn from my mistakes, and away we go. And then again, when it comes to assistance, it's only going to be half. The reason why it's half is the wind's going to try and knock that golf ball down, so it's not going to stay up in the air as much. Again, if you're a high flighter of the golf ball, it will definitely carry and stay in the air a little bit more. The lie. There was a question here on ball below, ball above the feet. Simple principle, just the ball will follow the lie. So if the ball is beneath me, it's going to want to go in that direction, peel out to the right hand side. If it's more above me, it's going to go to the left hand side. If I'm on an upslope, it's going to send the ball more into the air there. Yeah? So if it's going to go more into the air, what can we do? Yeah, if it goes more into the air, the ball's not going to fly as far. So if I've got a 7-iron, I think it's a 7-iron, go back to a 6-iron. You're playing that club, that lie is going to affect that golf club. Or the complete opposite, if I'm on a downslope, again, it's going to follow that slope there. So again, if I think it's a 7-iron, I might even go back to an 8-iron and just make my normal swing and let this thing come out a little bit lower. It's going to land shorter, run on to the green, let's just say. Tight lies is another one. So the ball will come off faster. So if I hit a golf shot off something like this, and I'm trying to hit a little chip shot, for example, the ball will come off a lot faster. So firm lies, good golfers love firm lies because you've got to do less to get the same kind of outcome at the other side. So bunkers are very similar here too. Firmer lies, the ball's going to come out faster, that type of stuff there. And then finally, with the putting, when it comes to alignment, you could even probably do this on the golf course with your tee shots as well, is a divide golf ball is really good. So having that really solid line there. There are tools out there where you can clamp on and then draw a line on as a reference point. That definitely helps. There's one less variable that you have to worry about, is make sure you take the time to just mark your ball, line that up as good as you possibly can. I even use, when I'm sitting in behind it, using the shaft here, and then making sure that the inside of my shaft is lining up with the target that I want to hit to. Yep, at least then I can then try and line my club face as square as I can to that, and then my job is just to return that as good as I can and get that ball rolling in that general direction there. So that's definitely a little simple trick that you can do. Okay, so first checklist that we have is to find a club or a swing for one of these distances. Because I'm lazy, I'm not going to go back to my bag and find my lob wedge that's going to do this distance, even though that's definitely a club that's going to help me on the golf course. I've chosen 145 because that's going to be the closest to the club that I have in my hand. So it's very difficult to know whether or not we've made the right swing, and if that swing with good contact would actually go the distance that we want. However, with technology, I've got it set up on this little screen over here with the optimizer. So what that means is whatever swing that I make, if I do a good job, the optimal number is the one that I'm chasing. So I'm just trying to find a swing and a feel and a club that's going to help me fly this ball as close as I can to 144. So the first thing that we got to do is we've got to hit 10 shots to try and find that. So what are we up to? We're up to shot number 5, so I'm going to use the optimizer as my swing guide, and it's literally how hard or how soft. So 140, so I need to move this club a little bit faster to achieve that. .146, perfect. Shot number 8, 2 more. So I don't want to react to the shots yet, because I'm not in the stage where I'm fine tuning. I'm just in a stage of just creating a baseline to see what my natural shot pattern is. So again, I hit that 145, so that's the swing that I need to feel. So as a ballpark figure, you know, if I've got my club moving at about 80 mile an hour, that's going to equate to that distance that I'm looking for. So now I've hit my 10 shots, I need to work out what my dispersion pattern is. So this is how simple it is when you're in here. So this is my last shot there. I then go into my 4 squares, into table, and then I highlight one or the other. So here my shortest is 137 carry, and my longest is 153. So I can be just under, so what am I aiming for, 145, so I can be, let's say, 8 meters short to 8 meters long, right? And then I look at my furthest left is 13 meters left and 11 meters right. So my dispersion circle kind of looks more like an egg shape, side on egg shape. There you go. So then all of a sudden, when I'm on the golf course, I know that if I miss-hit this thing, it can be 8 meters short when it comes to my carry. If I hit it really well, it can be actually 8 meters too far. I can be 11 meters right, 13 meters left, creating this kind of shot pattern. You know, I've hit all 10 of them inside that shot pattern. So if I'm aiming for a target that has that kind of space, I'm going to hit that spot 10 out of 10 times, right? So then that gives me an indication of if I'm 145, that's my club, that's my dispersion circle. I can jot that down in my notepad. Yep, and then I can do the same thing for each of the different targets. So that's number one. Number two, we then use that information and map out the golf course. So you've got 10 different shots now that you have. You can go home now, print the map of the golf course out and work out exactly where these spots are, and then create your own little map when it comes to the golf course. From here, we then look at, okay, what's the shot pattern? So ultimately we want it to be more of a circular type of shape here. So this is a really good indication that I need to work on my direction rather than my short and long. Yeah, my short and long, based on percentages, if I'm 8 meters, divide that by 145, I've got a short and long miss of 5.5%, which is better than US Tour standard. And then if I go, let's go the widest, so 13 meters offline at 145, that's, you know, sitting at 8.9%, so not quite up to scratch when it comes to a Golf Pro. So left and right, the biggest thing that's going to cause your left and rights is going to be club face open or closed, or the path. So let's have a quick look. This is where we actually go into analyze mode. I go path, I go face, see which one is more inconsistent. So I can see here on the bottom right of the box there, that's my consistency number. So my path is pretty consistent. It's averaging out 3.9 degrees to the left. I wouldn't be touching that. Anything inside 5 degrees is classified straight. However, if I look at my face angle, it can then vary 1.9 degrees from my average of 1 degree. And this is where we can actually have a look at these shots. So if we look at the most closed, 4.5, there it is there. If I look at the most open of 1.4, is it 1.4? Yeah, 1.4 is this one here. So I can clearly see that if I can get this club face control, let's just say the perfect number of -1, now I'm actually inside these lines here. So 1.7, 1.5, 0.1, 0.3. You know, these are the ones here. So then I can then really start dialing in my practice to go, let's keep my path the same, but I want to feel like I'm actually returning this club face 1 degree left. If I can get this club face to return 1 degree left, I know that I'm going to get this golf ball to end up in between those lines there. So let's give it a go. So again, I'm going to create some small swings just to get a feel for what 1 degree left would feel like, and then hit some shots. So I know what that feels like. So there we go. I was able to maintain my club path. I was able to maintain that face angle there, and you can see I was able to keep my golf ball in between these tram lines. So now that I've got a feel for that, I've only got one more thing to do, is just to keep adding speed on the back of that. There you go, 0.7, and you guys can see here the golf ball has ended up inside those tram lines. So I'm very confident that by gaining control of this club face, I'm going to make sure that my dispersion circle is more left than right. I'm going to squeeze that in. If you find that your dispersion circle is this way, it's going to be more contact orientated. So let's have a quick look at what that is. So if we're looking at this, it's going to be either contact orientated or speed orientated. So these are the numbers that we're looking at. So if we look at this one here, you can clearly see that the speed was 58 mile an hour. So again, if my speed is fluctuating a lot, which I don't think will be happening to you guys, but you never know, we want to find some speed. Once we've got that speed under control, then it's a matter of controlling where the bottom of that arc is. So again, if I'm trying to get good contact, we want that golf club to land slightly in front of that golf ball there, so about 10 centimeters in front. And then from there, even if I land it in front, if my club face is like this, I'm not going to get that golf ball very well. So I want to make sure that I've got this club face actually pointing a little bit more to the left to then really start trapping that golf ball there. So square club face with that low point in front will give you the highest chance of getting center contact and getting more consistent as well. Because again, if my golf club's leaning back here, and I hit the ground, chunk it, those types of things there. So that pretty much wraps it up. So you got the refining of the skills now, it's going to wrap it up, and then it's just a matter of just doing that in a loop. So go back, once you've fine-tuned it, you might find that the swing feel has changed, the club choice may have changed because you're now striking the ball better, the ball is now going in the direction that you want to more efficiently as well, so you find that you don't need to swing as hard to get it to that different distances there, which means your on-course strategy or your mapping will also evolve as you get better and better and better, and then being able to then adjust that, so I would review it maybe every 3 to 6 months, especially if you're in here practicing 2-3 times a week. Make sure that the course map that you have is evolving with you, and then making sure that you are refining the right skills, because again, you can clearly see that if you've got a particular pattern, that pattern should be evolving and also getting better as well. So that's what we want to see, is that we want to see golfers getting better. Yeah, if you're still doing the same thing over and over again, it just means you're not quite working on the right things. So this is where we exist, the technology exists, so you can clearly go, what is it that I need to work on? So I'm offering a little half-hour free golf lesson that can identify what the skills are that you need to improve, and then from there quickly attaching it to one of the shots so you can then take these things out on the golf course. Good luck.